Each quarter tells a story, from Wall Street heavyweights to emerging disruptors. We break down the numbers, the reactions, and the moves that matter most. Real data, real insights, in real time. This is Earnings Central Live with Verified Investing.
Hello everybody. How's everybody doing? Welcome to this super special episode of Earnings Central Live and Trading the Close. My name is Lawton Ho here with Verified Investing, and we have a jam-packed episode today. Drew's still out with the baby. He'll be back next week, but for now, you got Ben and I. And today, we are going to be live trading, reacting to some earnings. We have Netflix, Interactive Brokers, United Airlines, and a couple other UAL. Followed by that, we're going to be going through the charts talking about gold, silver, SanDisk, Apple, Micron, NVIDIA, everything crazy, and some of the latest updates on what Trump has had to say about a potential trade war looming with the European Union. But let's hop into the good stuff, shall we? Because we don't have the most time. All right, guys, should go to my screens. We have earnings today. The very first earnings is Netflix. If we can throw up the EPS expected for Netflix, please. So on Netflix, we are expecting EPS, earnings per share, about 55 cents, up 28% year over year. For revenue, we're expecting about $11.97 billion, about 17% up year over year. Let me give you those levels really quick if we can go to my charts. So for me on Netflix, my first level of resistance for the aggressive traders is over here around $92.68. My secondary level of resistance is right here around $95, followed by that even number plus a gap fill of $100 for resistance should Netflix go up. Should Netflix come down, my first level of support around $82.40. Secondary level of support is around $81, and the final level is around $75. On to Interactive Brokers. So Interactive Brokers, my levels of resistance, I'm going to give you to these quick because they literally come out in 2 minutes, okay? We can go through the earnings stuff later. But on IBKR, Interactive Brokers, my first aggressive level of resistance is $75.61, followed by that nice $77 level, and then $79.70 for resistance. For support, should it come down on earnings, $67.23, a nice gap fill there, first level of support, followed by an additional gap fill around $64.30, and then a third one around $62.50. And the third stock that's going to report earnings is United Airlines, UAL. This can move, guys, for resistance. Okay, it's just off of its highs. Resistance. First level of resistance around $113.44. That is for aggressive traders only, followed by $117.29 and double top around $119.26. For a long level, first level of support is around the 103 level, followed by the $99 level. There's a nice previous gap fill there, nice support there, and followed by the $95.62 gap fill. Guys, if we could come to me, we have these earnings just a few minutes, or literally 40 seconds. So what I'm going to do here is we got the levels on my screen, and we're going to react to them in real time. Okay, if you want to trade along at home, just know to set everything to extended trading hours so your orders can be filled. We're going to react to it in real time. The levels are on your screen. Should be a bit of a scroller on the bottom as well. But we're going to react to these in real time and see if we can't get a trade. Earnings season is in full swing, and we're about to release earnings in just a few seconds. Any moment now, Netflix, United Airlines, and Interactive Brokers should come out. Their earnings should come out. Let's see if any of our levels hit. Nothing yet. And sometimes, guys, the earnings moves aren't immediate, right? The first move may actually be the wrong move. This is a little faster pace of an episode just because we have all these earnings jam-packed, releasing all literally at the same time at 4 o'clock. So let's see if we can't get some levels of support or resistance or a trade here. So far, nothing on UAL, Interactive Brokers, or Netflix, but we'll give it a little more time. After we go through this, I'll go through all my levels on the S&P, on gold, silver, natural gas, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. But let's just see if any of our levels are hit. Looks like UAL initially popped a little bit of movement there, up about 1%, and then back down to flat. Not much there. And look at Interactive Brokers starting to come down, guys. Remember that first aggressive level is that $67.23. Let's see if that comes into play. With Netflix starting to sell off as well. Okay, initially got that nice sell there on Interactive Brokers, about a 4.5% sell, but we got over a 1.5% bounce, and Netflix did see a little downtick there. A little bit of a sell, down about 2%. Remember that first level of support is around $82.40. And UAL perking up a little higher, and IBKR down. For resistance, remember UAL 113.44 is that aggressive level, you guys. And it looks like it's heading there really close, guys. Back to Netflix, IBKR, not much happening there. Let's see if UAL pushes up a little more. That's the first level for aggressive traders that I would consider a short. For Interactive Brokers, coming down here, remember 67.23 is that level. Look how close it got, about 20 cents away from that first level of support for you aggressive traders. And UAL coming up into that level. Let's see if it hits. Going back and forth here, seeing if there's not a trade here on either UAL or Interactive Brokers. Remember, for those of you trading at home, there it is, boom, 67.23 hit it and actually went lower to the penny. And what a bounce, guys, over about a dollar bounce, 1.5% right there. If you were trading this at home, boom, you could have easily taken 1% plus. It's below that level again, so let's see if you can get a potential another bounce. And this is that first aggressive level, guys. If IBKR came down and comes down further, 64.30 is going to be that first secondary level of support. But if you got in there 67.23, you could have taken over 1%. You could have traded it again, getting a little bit of a bounce here, right? If you decided, okay, I couldn't get in the first time, but I got in the second time, you're in the money slightly. So let's see if we can get another push. Back to UAL, initially pushing up and falling, right? Almost going flat here. All right, could be headed higher as well. Look at this pop in Interactive Brokers, guys. Look at that level. Incredible. Piercing that level, popping over 2%. If you are at home trading this live with me on Interactive Brokers, you could have taken, boom, 2.5%. Congratulations to the guys. Congratulations, you guys. And IBKR continues to push higher. And this is why I love earnings, guys, because awesome job, YT. Got $2 on IBKR. Congratulations to you. Wow, amazing job. And this is why I love earnings, because we don't care about which way it's going, but we're ready, right? When the opportunity presents itself, hits that support level and bounces. What an incredible move here on Interactive Brokers there. Could have taken 4%. Wow. What an explosive and incredible start to earnings season. And I believe we have a couple more earnings coming up next week as well. But just looking at this IBKR, that was absolutely beautiful, guys. Awesome job for those of you who are taking it. I'm going to give UAL and Netflix another minute or so, and then we'll transition into trading the close, and I'll go over the rest of the charts. But wow, what a rush. Congratulations for all of you at home. And thanks for trading along. Look at Netflix, though, coming down. Remember, $82.38 is my first aggressive level of support. I see that, YT. I see that it is continuing to sell. Great spot there. And IBKR could have taken 4%. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And it's not always the biggest names, right? How many of you guys in these types of earnings traders are going to would have traded, okay, I'm going to trade Netflix. Yeah, there's going to be some volatility because it's a big company. But some of these smaller companies like Interactive Brokers give you the opportunity, right, even though they're a little more thin, a little smaller of company, still $121 billion company, right? Still potentially giving you an opportunity to trade. Let's see if Netflix can come down and hit this level of support though, guys. As I get some water because I've been screaming. And that's why you're sometimes aggressive. Wow. Interactive brokers continuing higher, might even go green. Might even go green. Got like 1% lower than my level, but nice trade anyways. Thank you guys for taking that. Trading IBKR on IBKR. Tradeception. Yeah, absolutely reculent. And I apologize for my allergies. What a great move here on Interactive Brokers. Going to give Netflix until the end of this minute. And if it doesn't hit that level, it doesn't hit that level. I still like these levels for potential day trades. And this is the great thing about the levels that I've given you guys. When I give you these levels, yeah, there's like aggressive, more balanced, and then extremely conservative levels for going long or short. And even if they don't necessarily hit that day on earnings, the great thing about it is that there's still good levels for support and resistance for potential day trade and even potential swing trade, as Interactive Brokers almost goes green. So congratulations, guys, on that trade. Could have taken 6%, but thank you guys for taking that. Yeah, I'll take a look at SanDisk in just a bit, guys. But all right, that's it for Earnings Central Live. But I'm going to play the intro and we're going to hop straight into it and hop into trading the close.
Data-driven insights for serious traders. As the closing bell approaches, momentum is analyzed, tomorrow's key price levels highlighted, and the setups that matter most broken down. This is Trading the Close with Verified Investing.
All right, guys. Wow. What a great episode so far. Just taking my seat here. And let's go over all the action in today's charts right after that. Okay. Let's go throw up my screen, please. And let's start here with the SMH. If we could go full screen. Thank you so much. So the SMH did sell today, right? We had news that Trump was considering, or not, that he was having some disagreements over Greenland, saying that we need Greenland. And we had news late last week that the European Union was going to be sending their troops to Greenland to try and defend it, right? To try and defend it. But over this weekend and holiday weekend, which I hope you guys had a great MLK Day, the European Union threatened a potential trade war, canceling that trade agreement that it had with the United States, right? So that's why everything is down. Now that we have some context, let's hop into it. So semiconductors are no stranger to this, right? They were trading in this nice upsloping trendline parallel channel. They're still trading in this parallel channel. And for me, when I'm looking at this, it tells me that, okay, there might be a good shorting opportunity here on the SMH. Should we break the bottom of this parallel channel, right, that is previously traded in, you can enter on either a break or on a retrace of this and look for a move lower. For me personally, I'd target a move at least down here. Look for about a 7.5% target for the SMH. I have calmed down a little bit since earnings trader. I'm trying to. On the S&P, if you guys remembered what I was talking about, I said that, wow, look at this. It was trading in this incredible wedge pattern here on the S&P. However, right, it was not breaking it. It was refusing to break it. We tested it here. We tested it, kissed it here, tested it here, tested it here all throughout last week. But this news comes out and we have a great sell here on the S&P. The lowest price we've gotten in a month on the S&P, down about 2%. Still way up, right? Still way up when you zoom out on this chart from those Liberation Day lows. We're talking up, what, about 41%, but still looking to come down. And for me, these lines I have on my chart are the areas of support I'm targeting on the SPY. Should it come down there? So the first level, I have a beautiful pivot low. This is the last time I'm gonna hit this parallel channel, wedge pattern all the way back from the 20th of November. And this $650 level and 50 cent, that's the first level of support. Now, if the S&P can break down here and you need to see a fall of 4% plus, which it could easily do even in this week, right? If we, particularly if we see escalated tensions between Europe and the United States, my next target would be down here, 8% lower, around $622 is a beautiful gap fill all the way from the beginning of August. Finally, huge level coming up here, beautiful psychological number. You see all the price action all around it. The $600 psychological level will be massive for the S&P. Moving on to the Qs, something kind of similar happening, right? And on this, I know you see a lot of lines on my charts. This is a beautiful head and shoulders pattern potentially forming here on the QQQ. And you'll see this on a couple of stocks that I'm going to cover later, right? And you had this beautiful upsloping neckline. We just need price to continue going lower. Now, it hasn't hit it yet, and there's going to be support here at the $600 level on the QQQ. But should price continue to fall and breach this neckline, right? The measured move here, a move down 10.5% on the QQQ, which would be incredible. But first, we got to get past these lows on the 17th of December on the Qs. And speaking of head and shoulders patterns, let's go to NVIDIA. And I keep talking about this NVIDIA head and shoulders pattern that's on the chart, right? Still valid, right? You just have to use this as the right shoulder instead. But if we go ahead and just adjust this like so, we'll get a clearer picture of what a realistic head and shoulders pattern on NVIDIA playing out would look like, right? Now, we had a good sell today, about 4% today. And I even had people in the live day trading room say, hey, should we buy NVIDIA now? Is this a generational buying opportunity for NVIDIA? Well, I don't think so, right? From the Liberation Day lows, which I love using because it's the lowest pivot, we're up over 100% still on NVIDIA. And this pullback just from the start of the new year is a move down only 8%, only 8%, right? So I'm watching this fall, and this measured move would be a fall down 26%. Now, you might think to yourself, 26%, that's massive, right? That's unrealistic for NVIDIA. However, even if the stock fell 26%, 27% from where we're trading now, it would still be up almost 50% from the Liberation Day lows, guys. So that sort of correction is not unheard of. Now, is it going to do that? I would be surprised if it did that, just because if NVIDIA fell that much, the rest of the markets would collapse. However, seeing a move maybe half of that to around 150, right? Is that realistic? The stock falling about 15, 16% from now? I think that's 100% realistic. So the way I'm trading this, guys, is should NVIDIA come down and hit that upsloping trend line, this neckline of this head and shoulders pattern, I would initiate a short. Initiate a short, or look for a retrace and look for that move lower. All right, Next one. Speaking of these types of semiconductors, look at Micron, guys. And I showed you this trend line from last week, right? Micron hitting this high, and look where price got today. It attempted to break above, attempted to break above this beautiful upsloping trend line, right? But failed to do so. As opposed to the majority of the stock market, which opened lower on the news, right, that we were potentially getting contentious with our European Union allies, right? Micron actually opened higher. We saw a move up, basically up 0.4%, and Micron actually made new all-time highs and pushed up over 4.5%. However, the story doesn't end there. Micron sold back down 4.33%, closing basically where it opened today. And if you're familiar with technical analysis, you see here on this daily chart a beautiful topping tail, right? Beautiful topping tail here on Micron. Now, the question is, if Micron, right, if this is the top of Micron, where could it go? Where is Micron likely to find support? And I have a couple areas of support for you. The first one I'm targeting is this nice $333 and basically 33 cents, a nice gap fill from the 14th of January, approximately down 9%. Should price continue to fall, there's going to be a tremendous amount of support in this area around this 265 region, right? That would be an additional fall, a fall down about 27%, right? And for Micron, that is nothing, right? And the reason why is because if we go from these Liberation Day lows, I love talking about so much, we're up over 500%, guys, up over 500% from those Liberation Day low levels. Crazy. All right, on to some of the good stuff. We have Bitcoin and Ethereum, as well as gold and silver. So on Bitcoin, we have another, and I'm talking about this pattern a lot because it's around, right? And it's one of my favorite patterns because it's so easily identifiable for all of you guys sitting at home. On Bitcoin here, having a beautiful head and shoulders pattern. Left shoulder, right head, and potential right shoulder forming, right? We need to see this come down and hit the neckline, but hasn't done so yet, right? So we know that there's a bearish pattern there, and that measured move would be a move down to like 37,000. Does that mean Lawton's saying Bitcoin's going to 37,000? No, not necessarily. It's just saying that, guys, there's a head and shoulders pattern, bearish pattern that has a measured move down to that level. Now, I think a more realistic target would be somewhere in the $60,000 region. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Before we talk about head and shoulders patterns, before we talk about downside targets, we need to get below this nice upsloping trend line, taken from the lows of the 21st of November through the lows of the 18th of December, basically to now. This nice upsloping trend line proved to be tremendous support around $89,000. We saw a nice consolidation around this level, around this 95,000. We tried to break it, try to break this 95, and then we finally broke it. And I said that was bullish, right? If you remember from my shows last week, I said that it was bullish. But here's the important thing to note. Just because a pattern is bullish, it doesn't matter if we're going to get into a trade war with Europe, right? My nice trend lines, yeah, I can find levels of support and resistance. And even if trend line breaks and favors a move lower, if we have bullish news, it's going to completely reverse it. And even though I believe that Bitcoin was going higher, as soon as that news came out, we had a nice fall. So the landscape has changed, and we now have this upsloping trend line to contend with. If we break below this, I'm targeting this nice neckline that I talked about earlier, somewhere around $83,000 for a potential short should this head and shoulders pattern break. Next one here on Ethereum, right? Have this nice, beautiful wedge pattern forming. And this really nice red candle might be testing, right? We don't know because the day is not over. Crypto never sleeps anyways, right? But might be testing the bottom of this wedge pattern. Now, should this break, that is extremely bearish for Ethereum, right? I'm looking at support all the way down here at this pivot low around $2,100. Of course, you're going to get support here at this basically the lowest point that we got to in the last 6 months here in November, right? That would be a fall down. Let's do this measure move down about 12.5%. But if we break this upsloping trend line, I'm targeting 2,600. And then a further fall if we can get below this pivot to around $2,100. Now, there's still a chance, right? There's still a chance that Ethereum rebounds, right? We saw it bounce here on this trend line, bounce here on this trend line. And it's totally realistic that we could see a bounce here, right? And then if we see potentially price action go like this and shoot to the upside, right? This could be extremely bullish. But that's the thing about wedge patterns. It's not like you want to sound flippy-floppy one way or another. If it breaks to the upside, it's bullish. If it breaks to the downline side, it's bearish. It sounds very non-committal, but that's just the nature of wedge patterns. Finally, guys, let's talk about a couple more stocks. Let's talk about Apple. Apple, wow, what a fall in Apple today. About 3.5%. Right, was down at its lowest about 5% today. But for me, was trading in this nice upsloping parallel channel. Then boom, came down and actually broke a really important trend line. We had the Liberation Day lows, the lowest point it got last year. After that, the 4th of August lows, all the way to where price action is trading now, basically. And that's extremely bearish. If we can see another candle down here, see it confirm, I'm looking at support. I have a downside target around $234. I realistically could see Apple coming down another 5%. Now that doesn't seem too far away, guys, right? But for Apple's, this is a big move, right? From its Liberation Day lows, Apple is still up, even after this great sell, still up over 45%, guys. 45%. So a 5%, 10%, even 15% additional correction. I mean, that's totally realistic, guys. But this is the trend line to keep on your charts and to continue to watch. All right, guys, almost done, I promise. Gold and silver. Final two charts. Gold, absolutely popping. I had this nice upsloping parallel channel. I said it was bearish, and you know, some people on the internet, you know, they're really protective, I learned, about their commodities, particularly gold and silver. So no offense to you guys, right? But I'm just reading the charts. Anyways, for this on gold, what a breakout here on this nice upsloping parallel channel. And the next level of resistance, and frankly, one of the final levels of resistance that I potentially see on gold is this nice trend line I've taken from the 21st of April highs through the highs of the 17th of October, right? And where that would be on gold for a target, depending if it hit it today or tomorrow, would be around $4,800 on gold, $4,862. Now, if it hits it over here, yeah, it could easily be, this trend line could be at $5,000. And I think that everyone sees that number, right? At first it was like, okay, 4,000, 4,500, 4,600, 4,700. So everyone's watching this $5,000 level. And, you know, essentially that would be the next level of resistance if it broke above this. But I would be surprised if it got there before having a little bit of a pullback, at least back to within this nice upsloping parallel channel. So that's what I'm watching here on gold. Of course, during wartime, we generally see small spikes in price of commodities like gold and silver. And with the, everything looming with Greenland and a trade war potentially coming, people run from risk-on assets into these kind of safe haven assets like gold, silver, and some good quality stocks. And finally, for you guys, I have silver. So silver is trading in a nice upsloping parallel channel right now here on the daily chart. And we know that silver, that upsloping parallel channel, parallel channels are actually bearish, right? Expecting a pullback somewhere along this. But like we saw with gold, right? It had a bearish pattern. It was on all-time highs. It favored a pullback, but news came out. Right? News came out, so it didn't matter. But I believe that silver could see resistance, and everyone's watching the $100 level. Same thing with $5,000 on gold. Everyone's watching $100 on silver. Now, if it gets up there, I expect a pullback, particularly if it aligns with the top of this upsloping parallel channel. To play it for a downside move, you could short it here or on a retrace looking for a move lower. And yeah, absolutely. Kingsley said it best in our YouTube chat. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for commenting. Saying charts and TA are cool, but can they predict geopolitics? I don't think so. Anyways, guys, if we could come back to me, production team, thank you guys so much for watching me on Trading the Close. Thank you guys so much for enjoying and spending time with me doing Earnings Central live. Congratulations if you guys got that interactive brokers trade. One more thing I want to say before I go. I have a new course out right now called Zero to Trader in 60 Minutes Crypto Edition. It'll teach you everything you need to know about cryptocurrency, how to make your first trade, and you also get 1 month free of our smart money crypto services so you can follow all of Garrett's crypto trades. All right, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Congratulations if you took that interactive brokers trade, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Bye, guys.